So I have a question for you. How are people going to know about your book unless you put yourself out there and you tell them that you've written a book, what it's about, and how it's going to transform their lives? I know that this is a nerve-wracking thing for many authors, and they don't know how to actually take that step to become more visible and to connect with the people that they are called to reach. So if that's you, you are going to love this episode as I explore how to increase your visibility with my special guest, Heather Nielsen. Welcome, awesome authors. You are listening to the Answering the Call to Write podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Farndale, and this episode is brought to you by Paper Crown Media. Hello, awesome authors, and welcome to this episode of Answering the Call to Write with me, your host, Melissa Farndale, and I have the wonderful Heather Nielsen with me today, and we are going to talk about a very exciting topic, and that is how to take your message to the stage. Now, I met Heather in an online event where we were both speaking, and I just knew I had to get her to come and talk to us. I am so excited to learn from her today. Heather, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. I'm super excited to help your authors get more visible.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you. Now, just to tell you a little bit more about Heather, she has a 15-year career as a successful real estate agent, and she's transitioned all her expertise into speaking and success coaching, empowering individuals to achieve their business aspirations. She brings a wealth of experience for teaching and inspiring to her business consulting services. She uses mindset practices, personal development, and small business startup strategies. Heather guides entrepreneurs with practical advice and a positive approach, drawing from her networking and event coordination expertise. Now, Heather is a devoted wife and mother of 5. Let's just applaud that for a minute. And she's always been deeply committed to her faith. She's a valued member of choosingwisdom.org and the founder of mydivinejoy.com. Heather, I'm very excited to hear about your expertise and how you got to get into speaking publicly. I know that public speaking can be quite daunting for a lot of people, especially many authors who are kind of leaning towards the introvert side. So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you end up doing what you're doing?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So, it's like, how far back do we want to trace, right? It's interesting. One thing that I know we're going to talk about in the extended version with your Paper Crown Media is talking about how often we discount our own experiences. And actually, what happened to me is I was doing coaching and I attended something similar to maybe what you do. I can't remember if it was a summit or a 5-day challenge, something like that. And they were talking about public speaking. And as they were talking about it, I realized, oh my gosh, I have done that like my whole life. I was very involved in high school. I was on the speech team. I was a cheerleader. I was on the dance team. I participated in my church group and had opportunities to be on stage with that. And so when I really trace back like 30 plus years, I was used to being in the spotlight. And it was at that point that I was like, I need to add that to part of what I do. And I was already doing summits and doing some other like things that were visible, but really claiming that as I am a speaker, and it's really stepping into that identity, right? Anytime we're trying to change or recreate ourselves, you have to step into that identity and really fill it into your heart. And so I love that your authors, they've claimed that. They are authors, they are book writers, they are being a light and spreading their message to the world. But it's like, okay, but how else can they do that? And if they want their book to become a bestseller, they have to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable and getting on stages, whether it's a podcast, whether it's like TV, whether it's in another online type of community. But really, you have to, like, networking is just such a key to spreading your message and getting those best-selling books.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned identity, because I think so many times when we are secure in who we are and what we are called to do and the message that we carry and the people we're supposed to reach, everything becomes so much easier. I know for myself as an author, it took me nearly a decade to actually find the courage to get out there, to write my book, to get that message out there. And I remember the first time I ever posted a blog. Oh my goodness, my hands were shaking. I was sweating. I was so nervous because I was just so afraid to put that piece of my heart out there. So, um, what advice do you have for somebody who just says, I know I have this divine calling on my life. I know that, it's more than just writing a book and I want to get my message out there. What would what would the first steps be for them to kind of break out of that place of fear and limitation? It's a
Oh,
big
I love
question.
Oh, no, no, no. This is something that I just love talking about. So first of all, let me just point out that fear and excitement are the same emotion. It's just how it's wrapped up. It's the same endorphins or whatever it is that's going through your body. It's the same. So you have to, in your mind, flip it. And if you think about that and you really think, okay, when I'm afraid, how do I feel? Okay, when I'm really excited, how do I feel? And you're like, it really is the same. It feels the same. It's what I'm doing in my brain. So first of all, you just have to start getting that and be like, okay, I'm going to flip it. And I like to do tapping. Like, I am so excited that I get to speak on stage. I'm so excited. Anyway, I could go through a whole tapping thing, but I don't want to get distracted. But yeah,
Okay.
it's flipping that into excitement. But then let me tell you 4 steps that I teach people that need to get their message out. So, and it all is wrapped around events. So one is you need to attend events, and there's events everywhere. So be checking on Facebook, be checking on Eventbrite, look at your emails. You're going to get invited from other coaches and other people. So just go to an event, whether it's free or paid. And I actually recommend you do some of both. And you're just going to learn. Find something that you're interested in and just go soak it up and learn on whatever topic it is. And I don't care if it's bird watching or if it's some sort of personal development, or maybe it's something about, defining your characters or something. I don't know. I'm not an author, and especially not I say that, but I've actually written a lot of blogs, but I'm not a fiction author. So we'll go with that. So anyway, just go to events and just enjoy and learn and get used to introducing yourself. Because even that, and I feel like especially after COVID, these in-person events, some people have really shied away. Like we've had this culture of fear, and we need to be like, you know what? People are safe. I am safe. I can go see people face to face. And anyway, so that's step 1, is just going to events and enjoying them. Step 2 is very similar. It's going to events, whether online or in person, and this time you are observing. You are watching. You're like, what was their registration process like? What emails did they send out to keep me excited about the event? When I arrived, what was the check-in process like? How did they arrange the seating? What was the lighting like? Did they have a stage? Did they have us at tables or just chairs? You're looking at everything. And of course, if it's online, it's going to be a little different than what's in person, but you're observing and you're taking notes. What did I like? What really went well? What was a hiccup? And I'm going to try to make sure that I don't do that, right? So that's the other thing, is you're going and you're observing. Then step 3 is you need to participate. And this might be where the anxiety really comes in. But whether you have a booth at an event, at some sort of like home show or something, and you have your books on display for people to buy, maybe it's a book signing event, maybe it's an online event where you are sharing a little bit about your message, or maybe it's a podcast, whatever it is, you get to go and you're participating. And again, you're still observing, because you want to make sure, like, how did that go? How did that flow? And what was all that like? And you'll learn so much by participating at an event, because you'll get to see some of the behind the scenes of what is happening and how the event host is coordinating. Do they do it all themselves? Do they have assistants? How many assistants do they have? What are their assistants' roles? I mean, you'll just learn so much by participating. And then the last step that I love teaching people, and that I have a whole course for, is hosting your own event. And that is really amazing because when you host your own event, all of a sudden your credibility, your visibility, it skyrockets. And so that really is an amazing thing to do. But start with number one, start by just going to events and then paying attention. So that's really a 4-step process that I teach people to do. That step 4 is a big one. If you're going to be hosting your own events, you need to get some training on it, but you can do it. I know that, I mean, there's so many ways to make it really successful, and it really will launch your business to greater heights. So I'm all about getting visible and using events to get visible.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And I think I've seen this firsthand. I'm very new to getting involved in events and speaking at events. But I have seen with some of the things, and we were both involved in the event with Nadine Mullings, and just the power of connecting with people and collaborating with people and learning from each other is so powerful.
Yeah.
So, where do you go, or how do you find the right opportunities or the right groups or the right people to connect with?
Oh, that is a great question. And if I could start off with a caveat, don't try to get it perfect before you do anything. Just start. You might go to an event and realize, oh, that really wasn't my ideal audience. But you know what? You got to practice, and practice is great. So even if you practice and the people are like, huh, why is she here? That really does not fit. It doesn't matter. You're practicing. You're going to have some that this is a very American statement where you hit the home run, a baseball statement. I'm not sure what you guys would relate that if that's wrong. Anyway, you guys will have to
I love
translate.
baseball.
Okay, good. I didn't know if it was going to land, if it was
It's
too
not a
American.
UK thing, but I do love baseball.
Okay. Yeah. So sometimes you're totally just going to nail it and it's going to be amazing and it's going to be perfect. And sometimes you're going to do okay. And sometimes it's not going to go okay. And you just need to be okay with letting it be and realizing if you are at an event that doesn't feel right, there still might be one person in the audience that needs to hear you. And so, yes, do your research, check out the events, see if it seems like other people that are your ideal clients will be there, and do your best to try to find that out. But every once in a while, you're going to find an event that doesn't quite fit, and yet you're practicing. It's okay. So I just don't want people to get hung up on trying to get it perfect, because perfect does not exist. So just get out there and keep trying and trying. And I love it when you see like a singer-songwriter and all of a sudden something they've done has gone viral. And then you go and you check them out and you realize they have dozens of songs on, like if you're checking them out on YouTube, that have like 200 views, 2,000 views, maybe even 10,000 views. And then all of a sudden they get the view that's in the millions. But it's because they never gave up and they kept trying. So keep writing your books, keep getting on stages, keep finding ways to share your message. And I wish I could remember who it was, because I heard this recently where they talked about someone had written so many books and then it was like their 18th book that went viral, that just was a bestseller. And then some of their previous books really started picking up in sales because of that one book that did go viral. And so you never know when it's going to happen, but if you stop, if you quit, you might never know, and you might never be that light that you need to be to the world. So don't try to worry about perfection, just keep going.
Man, I love that so much. That is so, so true. It takes a lot of perseverance and just grit to keep going some days. And again, it's that piece, that identity piece. It's knowing that in all of this, in all of the research, in all of the networking, in everything that you do, in the writing of the book, you are living out that message that was written on your heart. You are being that message. It's all part and parcel of who you are called to be. And it's important to understand who you are, understand that key message, that core message that's written on your heart. And you've got to know who you are called to reach. Because at the end of the day, it's about that other person who really needs to hear what you carry in your heart, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, So can you tell us a little bit more about how you support business owners and authors in taking their message to the stage?
Absolutely. Yes. The first thing that I do is once a month, I have an absolute free presentation, and it really focuses on some version of personal development. Some of them are more spiritual, some of them are more practical, some are more mainstream, some might seem a little woo woo. But my journey has been all about trying to become the best version of myself. And it's interesting that it's those little drips of water that, add to the bucket and fill it up. And so it's been a lifelong journey for me. I'm really grateful. I grew up with parents that were already on a journey themselves and encouraged me to be on that journey. And yet I look back at myself, my younger self, and I've come a long way. I mean, I think of ways that my poor oldest child, right? I'm also an oldest child, and we're just
Me
all guinea
too.
pigs.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're guinea pigs. And I think back to some situations, especially with my oldest son when he was in fifth grade, that I did not handle well. And I totally lost my cool and I was yelling. I was so frustrated. And I'm like, I can't believe I did that. Like, it's so far removed from who I am today that I just can't even believe that I did that. And so it is a journey, no matter where you are. And we all just need to work on self-improvement. So I do that for free. I have a wealth and wisdom is what I call it. And it deals with becoming the best version of yourself. And that is a lifelong process. We're never done. Like, I'm so grateful that I'm so much further than I was 10 or 15, or I mean, I'm 48. So you'll go back as far as you want. So much better. And yeah, I know I still have more to go. We never arrive. So that's one way, is I just always help us become the best version of ourselves. And then I also have I help people like how to start their business. They don't even know like how to choose a name or how to buy a URL, or anyways, things like that. And then learning how to sell and how to scale. So yeah, selling and scaling. And those those are for business people. And I really would encourage authors. So I love that you've talked about this, that authors, they may have a book, but that's like their gift to the world that can open up so much more that they have to share. And so very likely, whether it's a fiction book or a nonfiction book, your message is about helping people also become the better version of themselves. And so you might think about, okay, I'm just an author, but what else? I mean, I know authors like Richard Paul Evans is a great one. He's New York Times bestseller, but then he also has programs about how to help authors write their books, and then other personal development type of courses. So you might be at the very beginning of your journey, and your books are like the entry point to where you're going to be able to take people and help people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love that encouragement. So many authors need to hear that actually, because when you focus on purely your book, it can become very disheartening because your message is so much bigger than the book. And I think one of the things for authors, and I know this from experience, is that we think it's about the book and we write the book and we publish the book, and then we realize, wait a minute, nobody cares that you have written a book. And that sounds a bit harsh. It sounds a bit harsh, but that burden of taking that message and putting it out into the world, that also falls on the author. Unless you have a massive following and you have a publisher that's going to go out and do the promotion for you, um, you're going to have to put some skin in the game and actually get that message out into the world. It doesn't happen just on autopilot. So, and at that point, I just want to say this is one of the reasons and one of the passions of Paper Crown Media, is that we don't just want to focus on you writing and publishing your book, but we want to help you promote that message and get it out into the world, which is why we're talking today. Because I just knew that you have something really valuable to come and share with us today, and impart to us today, just that importance to break out of that limitation of just thinking about your book, but really taking that message to the stage. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you, Heather.
Oh, you're welcome. I could see so many authors using their book as a way to promote a retreat, and then
Yes.
you're going through like the principles in the book. in your
Yes.
retreat. I could just see that being such a valuable thing for so many authors. So
No,
maybe that's a tip that someone needs to hear.
yes, it's very, very interesting. Actually, we have a beautiful member of our mentoring subscription, and that's exactly what she's doing. She's busy writing her book, and she's actually running retreats already, but she's now writing what she's kind of compiled over years, and she's putting it into a book, and she's going to be running her retreats now based on the book. But
Oh,
yeah, I'm very excited about it, and can't wait to share her message with the world. It's amazing.
it does sound amazing.
Awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit more and go into more detail. We're going to talk about 6 mistakes that prevent you from taking your message to the stage. And I'm very keen to dig deeper with you into that. So for those who are watching, if you are not yet subscribed to the Paper Crown Media Mentoring, then there will be a link in the description below. There will also be contact information of Heather's. So if you wanted to connect with her personally, you can also do that. So on that note, Heather, how can people connect with you if they want to know, where do you hang out?
Great question. I think probably the best place for me right now is Facebook. So we'll make sure that we have that connection in your show notes or whatever, so people can find me on Facebook. And from there, we'll make sure that they can get into my free community with my monthly trainings.
Yes, that would be amazing. So I asked this question to everybody that I interview, but what do you love most about what you do?
Oh, this is such a good question because actually I really, really do love what I do. And I think a lot of authors probably are in the same boat because I love what I do so much that I'd rather not do dishes or feed my family or do laundry or clean toilets, right? I'd
I
rather
agree.
just be able to figure out how to uplift and help people. But actually, one of the things that I've done with my community is go through the finding your why exercise. And I've of course done it for myself. And it's not just what you think it is. You have to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And that would be fun to do sometime. But my why I do this, and it relates to my wealth and wisdom, is that we are on a journey to become our best self. And I believe that as we are becoming really more like Christ, that is our ultimate goal as the perfect example. And so that's what my journey is. It's as I am working on myself, it's natural. And actually, I didn't even share this in my bio, but I started out as a faith-based positivity coach. And I love helping people like uplift them or whatever. But then it became faith-based positivity and success, because with that positivity, more doors open, more opportunities open, because people like to be around happy people. And then from there, it went from success to the business coaching, because when you have helped yourself level up, the next thing you want to do is turn around and help lift somebody else. And so that's what I'm here, is to help lift other people and have them help lift other people. So really, this is a movement where people are all about helping others, and it starts inside.
Yes, amen to that. I love that. That's really cool. Thank you very much, everybody who's been watching. Thank you, Heather, for joining us. And for those who want to hear more, find us in the Paper Crown Media subscription. The link is in the description below. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.